All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. Hope everybody is having an awesome day and an awesome start to your week. So let's dive in. As always, let's turn off all distractions, grab the pen and paper for notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. We will take a look at the fundamentals. We will take a look at the technicals to see what is available for us to take advantage of here in the Forex market. All right. So if everybody can hear me okay, drop me a one in the chat just to make sure I am good to go. Appreciate you, Benit. AJ, appreciate it. David, awesome. All right. So let's hop over to trading economics. Take a look at what's transpired throughout the day today from a data perspective. Jeremy, good evening, my man. So durable goods orders rise for third month. New orders, U.S. manufacturing durable goods jumped 1.7% in May, following an upwardly revised 1.2% in April, easily beating the expectation of 1%, a 1% decline. And it was boosted by a surge in jet and car orders, right? So folks are out here purchasing jets on the private aviation side of things and vehicles, right? Vehicle consumption. So also orders for non-defense capital goods, excluding aircrafts, a proxy for business spending plans, increases by 0.7%, right? So people haven't completely slowed down spending money, right? They haven't slowed down their spending. So could be another data point for inflation to continue to press to the upside. All right. Other thoughts here. Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? I'm getting yes on my end, Jeremy. All right, cool deal. Appreciate it. All right, so U.S. futures slipped after tech led a rebound. All right, U.S. futures slipped on Wednesday after the major averages rebounded sharply during Tuesday's regular session, with tech stocks leading the advance. NASDAQ 100 futures fell 0.4%, S&P 500 futures lost 0.2%, and Dow futures were flat. In regular trading on Tuesday, NASDAQ composite rallied 1.65%, S&P jumped 1.15%, and Dow gained 0.63%. I'm not sure, Jeremy. I'm not sure. You might have to try logging out and logging back in, maybe. It looks like everybody else has sound. I'll just double check things on my end here. Yeah. Speaker. Yeah, I have sound on my end. Try logging out, logging back in, Jeremy. Okay, cool. So you're welcome. So continue going through this piece here, right? You had your 10 out of 11 S&P sectors finish higher. Mega cap tech names led the charge with strong gains. Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Meta Platforms, Amazon. Those moves came as strong housing and durable goods orders. Order data suggests that the U.S. economy remains strong in the face of persistent inflation and high interest rates. Investors now look ahead to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's appearance before policy panel in Europe on Wednesday for fresh clues on the rates path. So here's the deal, man. Last time Jerome Powell came to hold on one second. Last time Jerome Powell came to the microphone, he stated in his testimony that they were going to continue their hawkish path and continue increasing interest rates, right? When they increased the rates during the FOMC meeting, he said that they would likely need to continue increasing interest rates. But the investors, they aren't taking his words as his words. They're kind of brushing them off. So now they're looking forward to the next appearance to see what he says, to see if he changes his tone. As of right now, his tone hasn't really changed. Yes, they paused in the last meeting. However, they were very hawkish in that conversation, right? So it'll be interesting to see how investors respond to the statement tomorrow. It'll also be interesting to see if Jerome Powell changes his stance at all. But right now, it doesn't look like he will. It doesn't look like any of the Fed members will necessarily either. So we'll continue to watch that to see how things go, and we'll watch for those comments coming tomorrow. New home sales highest in over a year. So folks are still spending money now buying homes.
They still? Wait, let me do it.
Hold on one second, everybody. What do you see, Jeremy?
I think the slide is on one side of the screen. It's not in full view.
So I don't have any slides. I'm actually just sharing my screen. So
Yeah.
I would check how you have your screen set up in Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think on Zoom. It's okay. It's fine. I'll sort it out from here.
Okay. Next piece here, inflation in the euro area to remain high for too long. Christine Lagarde spoke at the ECB forum on central banking, and she said inflation in the euro area is too high and is set to remain so for too long. Right? Wage growth is now pursuing inflation, which is entering a second stage and is set to linger for some time. As a result, the ECB needs to bring interest rates into significantly restrictive territory to lock in policy tightening, right? So that just says that the ECB is going to continue to increase their interest rates to ensure that they're able to get inflation under control, because right now they don't feel like it is, right? So it's unlikely that in the near future the central bank will be able to state that in full confidence that the peak rates have been reached, right? In June, ECB raised the rates by another 25 basis points, bringing the rate on main financing operations to 4%, the highest level seen since 2008 financial crisis, and the rate on deposit facility to a 22-year high of 3.5%. President Lagarde stated that the ECB had more ground to cover and would likely continue raising rates in July. Right? So all things point to continuing to increase rates. Okay, out of the ECB. So again, we're hawkish on the euro. Right? Then we had Canadian inflation today. Inflation rate in Canada fell to 3.4% in May of 2023 from 4.4% the previous month, the lowest since June 2021, and in line with market expectation, largely due to base year effects from the impact of the Russians' invasion of Ukraine, and what that had on energy prices. So the result was broadly in line with the Bank of Canada's baseline scenario that inflation will slow to the 3% mark by summer, raising doubts over the extended rate hikes left in this tightening cycle. So they could likely start to slow down, potentially, even though last month they did increase. But again, the slowdown is largely attributed to a 2.4% decline in energy prices, right? And that came to an 18.3% plunge in that of gasoline, right? Strong push to the downside as oil started to become cheaper. Okay. Also, easing supply chain bottlenecks reduced inflation of durable goods. So, on the other hand, high interest rates brought the Bank of Canada spurred the sharpest hike in mortgage interest costs in its history. Right. In the meantime, the core inflation rate slowed more than expected, 3.7% on a monthly basis. The CPI edged 0.4% higher, following the 0.7% increase in April. Right. So in Canada, things are starting to turn just a little bit. Now it'll be interesting to see how oil and how those prices continue to vary, seeing as Russia's invasion of Ukraine is no longer a heavy impact. We'll see what else transpires as you have things shifting in Saudi Arabia and in Russia and in China. So we'll watch that to continue to see how things transpire there. All right, those are all the top articles. Let's go over to the calendar real quick. We can see the numbers here, right? The CPI data came in right in as expected. Your median CPI trend and common came in below expectation. So things are potentially starting to slow there. We also had consumer confidence for the dollar came in above expectation, and new home sales, as we stated, also came in above expectation as well. Okay. We still have CPI year over year for the Aussie coming in at 9:30 or 9 in 15 minutes. So we'll watch that as well to see what impact that has on the Aussie as we move through the week today. All right. Tomorrow, we have President Lagarde coming back to the microphone at 9:30. We have Governor Bailey also coming to the microphone, Governor Yuta coming to the microphone, and Fed Chair Powell coming to the microphone at that summit in Europe. So 9:30 through the morning will be pretty interesting. President Lagarde comes back at 11 o'clock to speak again. So it'll be an interesting morning based on their comments and how things go there. All right. So we will watch things there tomorrow. Then on Thursday, we have German preliminary CPI month over month. We have Fed Chair Powell speaking again, 2:30 a.m. Then we have final GDP for the dollar coming in at 8:30 on Thursday with unemployment claims. Okay. And then things get a little bit slower. And we just have GDP for Canada and core PCE index for the dollar on Friday, right? So relatively big week, but more speakers coming to the microphone. So we want to make sure that we listen to the tone that they take and the words that they choose as they're talking about monetary policy and the future trajectory of that in their individual countries. So that's it from a fundamental perspective. Are there any questions?
This is not here.
Oh.
All right, cool deal. Let's hop over to the charts. We'll take a look at the dollar. And then I've been out for a few days, so we'll make our way through the charts and we'll get through as many as we can. I got some updates to do on mine. So we'll see what's available in the markets from that perspective. All right. So over to the dollar. Zooming out on the daily. Right. We've been bouncing back and forth. This was a previous weekly resistance level. We broke it to the downside, came to the daily support, push back to the upside. So this weekly level is no longer valid as we're starting to bounce back and forth here, right? We're stuck in this range, top of the range, bottom of the range, and now we're potentially trying to make our way back to the top of that range, right? So we'll see how things transpire with Jerome Powell tomorrow and the other times during the week to see if we're able to break out of this range at all, right? We do have an official swing high here, okay, that we will watch and see if we are able to break above that and continue pushing higher, right? So this is the crown pattern that we've been tracking, and we're just pressing sideways right now on the dollar, okay? Coming down to the 4, this is what we look like on the 4, right? So just range bound on the dollar, trying to push back to the upside through the Asian session. So we'll watch to see what happens there. All right. That's the dollar. Let's hop over to, I am going to try to get through a lot of the yen crosses today as well because they are pressing higher. So, but I do want to start with the Aussies and then we'll go into some of the yen crosses. So the Aussie CAD, right? Overall, we've been tracking this one to the downside, right? Price has been moving down off the high. We have a shallow retracement. We pressed down, not able to get to the D extension, came back to retest this daily resistance level at 91,048. And we've been pressing down ever since, right? But we weren't able to break out of the support level, right? We got there and then we pushed back to the upside. So we could potentially be in for price to move higher, also understanding from a fundamental perspective, right? Canada could start to shift their tone, right? Potentially not being as hawkish. So we could see a shift in the Canadian dollar, and we could potentially see, even if it's a short-term pullback, we could see a pullback here on this Aussie CAD. So as we go down to the lower time frames, we will watch that to see if that's what we see. I'm adjusting the trend line here because this is our lowest point currently. We broke that low there, but still held at that daily support. But this is our lowest point, so I adjusted the trend line to take that lowest point into account. Okay, so let's go to the 4. And here on the 4, right, we've been down, right? Overall, our bias is short on this Aussie CAD. And we see that here on the 4. We got a 618 retracement, and we've been pressing down ever since, right? So now let's see if we get a pullback and then a continuation short, right? We got the nice break of the trend line, and then we got our continuation. So as we get down to the 1, we'll take a look at this last leg down, see if we're potentially setting up for a pullback. Understand also that we got Aussie news coming in 10 minutes. That could also give us a catalyst and push things to the upside if that data comes in positive for the Aussie dollar. Okay, so now down to the 1. Here's our 80-20 scenario here, right? Been coming down. This is that last leg to the downside. We see we held at that daily support level, and we started to try to make our way to the upside. We are making higher lows, right, and higher highs. So now we'll see if this trend continues and gets us that catalyst and that push to the upside, right? Looking for at least a TP1 level here at that 382. But we'll also see if we get our high price and get to that 618 level, then looking for potential to get a continuation back down to the downside. All right, so we'll watch this here, see if we get that move to the upside, potentially with the news coming out at 9:30. All right, so that's our 80-20 on the Aussie CAD. Any questions here? No?
No.
All right, cool deal. Let's go to the Aussie Swiss. And similar to here on the Aussie Swiss, right? Overall, our bias is down, right? We do have a fresh AB boundary here. We've held inside this daily support, and we've been trying to push long, but recently, over the past couple of weeks, we've been pulling back, So let's see again if we get price to turn over at these lows and give us another push to the upside, potentially even just coming back to these daily levels. Okay. But we know that stock market overall has shrugged off Jerome Powell's statements, and they've been relatively hawkish, right? The stock market. So we'll see if that continues and if we get some more capital flow moving back into our commodity currencies, seeing as the investors see the economy being resilient. We could see some more risky action coming into play in the near future. Right. So coming down to the 4, here's our 80-20 move that we played to the downside, right? 185 pips to that TP2 level. That TP was hit. Beautiful. Okay. Now we want to see, we got our trend lines coming off the low, right? We want to see we're in line with the 618 retracement and that trend line. So do we get double bottom scenario here at the trend line and get that push back to the upside? Okay. That's the question. That's the question here, right? Does this trend line hold? Do we stay inside the AB boundary? And do we push back to the upside, right? Potentially get into the D extension there at 61,982 sometime in the near future. Okay, so we'll watch that closely to see. This would be the trade setup here on the 4 if we do get that double bottom and that confirmation, right? Our deep retracement play, boom, stop loss there. And then looking long, TP at the 1618 extension level. Like that. All right. So we'll watch this here coming down to the 1. We also have a little bit of confluence on the 1 hour. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. Potential double bottom if this level holds. Okay. We see that there. Cloud is starting to press to the side a bit, pressing down, still bearish, but we'll see if the cloud also starts to turn and see if we get a break of the cloud as an additional piece of confirmation for that reversal to the upside. Okay, but here's our 80-20 play on the 1 hour if you are a trader just off the 1, right? Stop loss outside the D extension, like so, right? And then our reward to the upside is like that. Boom. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. That's what we're looking at here. Okay, so we'll be patient. We'll wait to see what happens in 5 minutes on the news. We might stick on this chart, but that's an opportunity for us there in that positioning to the upside on the 80-20. Okay, any questions on this Aussie Swiss?
No.
No? Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's drop these TP levels in here and in there. And if somebody can just keep an eye on that data for me, we'll keep moving through. But if somebody can keep an eye on that data for me and let me know when it drops, and we'll take a peek back at some of these. Let's go to the Aussie New Zealand. This is another one that's interesting. A lot of these Aussie pairs are sitting in interesting situations. So it'll be interesting to see. So here on the daily, on the Aussie New Zealand, fresh AB boundary here. Here's our pullback. We're starting to stall. We didn't get to that 50% level on the daily. Didn't get to the 618 either, obviously, right? But we're starting to get a press to the sideways here. Press to the side here. So the question is, do we get a pullback like this? Okay. We broke through this previous level of support, which was here. Do we get a pullback to retest that? Right? Do we get a pullback to retest that? And then do we get continuation to the downside? Right? So we'll watch this level closely as we move through the rest of the week, coming down to the 4. Here's our 80-20 play on the 4. Beautiful move to the downside, double bottom action. I mean, double top action here, right in that 118, 127 zone, and beautiful press to the downside. Strong move down, and we know, right, when we get these strong, impulsive moves, the market likes to take back some of that, right? So we got the 8-6 retracement here. So our matching the extension would be here at the 118 level. So potentially we could see a move back to the upside. If we're to get to that D extension, we could see a move back to the upside look like that. And then we can look to see maybe we get another pushback down, but we know how the Aussie New Zealand moves, right? Similar trade partners. So we'll have to watch that and play that by ear to see if we push back to the top of the range here or if we push back down to the bottom and then come back up, right? We know this one ranges quite a bit, so we'll have to watch it closely to see what happens. Okay, so that's the 4 deep retracement here. All right, so coming down to the 1, again, we have some confluence on the 1 hour time frame. All right, you got deep retracement on the 4, 80-20 on the 1, holding at this daily support level. Okay, so this is our setup here on the 80-20, shallow retracement, push down into the 118, 127 zone. We're getting our sideways push. We're also starting to get a bullish cloud ahead. Okay, so we could potentially be in for that break of the cloud, pull back and continuation. Okay, so this 3 scenarios, right, where we got 80-20 setups here, right, with some confluence on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, with some data that could push us in a direction coming up soon. All right, so that's the Aussie New Zealand there, 80-20 scenario. Any questions there? No? Okay, let's see here. The news should be out in a second. Let's see what happens. All right, let's pop over to the dollar and watch that one as that news comes out. There we go. So on the Aussie dollar, we're still range bound, right? Top of the range here, we're pressing down. See ahead of that news, pressing to the downside. Okay. Coming to the 4. Here's our fibs here, right? We just got to that 382 on that push up, and now we're pressing back down. Okay. Now we're pressing back down. So we'll see what transpires here in this 118, 127 zone on the 4. Okay. Coming down to our 1, here's where we have an 80-20 scenario. All right. This was a strong move to the downside, shallow retracement, push deeper than that 118, 127 zone. Okay. Strong push down. Let's check the data. Ooh. Came in below expectation. So we could see that continue to press down there, right? Could see some Aussie weakness potentially. Might not be a strong reaction on all the pairs, but we see we're getting that pressure to the downside now. So we could end up hitting the D extension here on the Aussie dollar, right? But that will be in alignment with the 4 hour and that 382 retracement, right? So we'll continue to push to the downside here. Then we'll see at some point, do we get a reversal? Okay. So that's the Aussie dollar. We'll see what transpires through the rest of the hour. All right. Let's check back on some of these others and see how they're responding.
Bless you.
Aussie CAD, pressing down. That's going to hit that D extension there. Pressing down. All right. But overall, continuing in the direction of our overall bias, which is down. So we'll see if we're able to close below this daily level on this Aussie CAD, right? There's a strong push. So we'll watch that one. Aussie Swiss. Yep. So in the 1 hour that hit the D extension, cleared that. So we'll watch this here. Next level of support isn't until 58,517. Okay. Coming back to the 4, we're breaking that trend line, breaking that middle trend line there. Okay. So we'll watch to see if we stay inside the AB boundary. That's going to be the question now, right? We're breaking the trend line. See on the hour if we close below, right? That didn't hold. So we'll see if we close below the trend line. And then our next thing is, do we stay inside the AB boundary, right? Do we stall out down here and get a reversal, or do we continue crashing down? Okay. And then obviously on the 1 hour, we'll get a reset at some point. All right. So that one didn't go. Questions on any of these Aussie pairs? We'll continue to monitor. Nope. Aussie yen. I missed that one. Down. All right. But it makes sense. From here to the weekly, right? We're at high prices. Yes, overall we're dovish on the yen, right? But we're coming into some high prices. Strong bullish action here, broke the previous weekly resistance level. So we'll take that out now and wait for a new swing high to form, right? That's on the weekly. Coming down to the daily. That's the level we just removed. That's the level of support that price is pushing into. Previous resistance, right? And we got a daily level of resistance here. Boom. Whoops. There we go. So we'll see if we get a deeper retracement on this. Yeah. That data was negative. Data was negative. And we're seeing these push to the downside. Right? Seeing these push to the downside. So we'll see if we break this daily support level on this Aussie yen. Right? Overall, we're bullish. We got a 50% retracement. Looking for it to continue long. It's just a matter of when. Right? So we could get a pullback, come back, retest these resistance levels here, and then turn over and press back to the upside. Coming down to our 4, there's our fresh AB boundary there. And we're coming into that support level. Right? So we'll see how price responds at 95,168 and see if we get a reversal or that continuation short. Okay. Then here on our 1, it's a beautiful 80-20 move to the downside, right? And now we're pressing back into that 618 retracement zone. And this is just that sideways push. Okay. So this daily level is going to be key for us. All right. 95,168. Do we stay above it or do we break below it? Okay. If we stay above, we'll look for price to get to 98,444. Okay. If we stay above. If we break below, then obviously 93,352 will be the next target. Okay. So we'll watch closely there. Questions on the Aussie yen?
Oh,
Okay. Aussie New Zealand. There's that press down. Got to the D extension on the 1, right? Pressing down. So this one was a no-go. Right? After the data, did the data push it in a direction to give us the additional confirmation? The answer is no, it did not. Right? So we don't take the trade. It's that simple. If then statements. If price does this, then I do this. Right? Data pushed the market to the downside. Okay. So coming back to the 4, looking at it here, I took out the A. Right? We're hovering at that level, broke it, took it out. So now we flip our fib and we run it to the downside. Like so. Boom. All right, so we're headed south. This is our capital fib now. AB boundary, 382 retracement. Matching the extension is down here at 107. Okay. So now we're tracking to the downside and that continue to move down. Okay. And then coming back to the 1, at some point we'll get a reset. Okay. Any questions on this Aussie New Zealand after the second look?
Oh.
Sweet. All right, cool. So that's where we sit on the Aussies. Let's take a look at the CADs, right? Could be in for some shifts, some changes in direction, right? So actually, let's go to the weekly first. So weekly got a 382, just shy of a 50%. We pushed back to the upside, back to the top here, right? We had a double top here, didn't quite get all the way back to that level at 110,451, but high in the zone, right? And it's been a strong bullish move to the upside. Okay, hold on 1 second, everybody. All right, my bad, everybody. So high in the zone here on this CAD yen, right? Coming back to the 4, 80-20 scenario here. Shallow retracement 118 to 127 zone, daily resistance, right? And we're starting to turn over and press to the downside, right? TP1 is at 105, 567. Okay, so we got 80-20 on the 4 hour. I believe we posted this one in the Discord last week. So we'll continue to monitor that and the progress there. Coming down to the 1, you also got an 80-20 scenario. All right, so confirmation on the 4 and the 1 of that potential reversal, push back down to the downside. Okay. Questions here on the CAD yen? No?
Yeah, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Can you go back on daily?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I skip the daily? I apologize.
Well, I think I missed it. I just wanted to ask a question regarding the 80-20.
Yeah.
And price moved, I think, a little shy of the 50%. And I wanted to know if you would consider that as an 80-20.
You said price moved just shy of the 50% on the daily?
I'm not sure if it was a 4 hour.
You might be looking at the
Yeah,
weekly
it was a
here.
weekly. Yeah, it was a weekly. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, no, this does not. Originally, it was. We had a shallow retracement here after that 80 boundary. Originally, it was 118, 127 zone, and we got this push. Now it's not considered an 80-20 anymore because we already got that 382 retracement.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we already got that.
Yeah.
So now it's more of a support resistance play and more could be potentially more fundamentally driven. Right? So if the CAD does take a back seat, if things change with the yen, if they do decide to intervene, we could see a retracement come here. Right? But not an 80-20, no.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Good question. All right. So that is the CAD yen. All right. I want to take a look real quick at the other Aussie crosses. So the Euro Aussie. This is one. My bad for taking so long to get to it, but we called this long, right, off the support level, and it pushed, and it's still pushing, right, coming into a daily resistance at 165, 189, right? But we've been long here. Okay, we've been long. So now we watch to see if we're able to break this daily level and continue pushing to the upside. Okay, coming down to the 4. Here was the move on the 4. 382 push there, just shy of it. Beautiful reversal off of support. All right. 616 pips to the upside after the move down. Okay. So we've been on top of this one for quite some time. Benny talked about it this morning, and watching that continued push to the upside to ultimately get to that D extension here on the 1, right? And we also push right into that daily resistance level, right? So 618 retracement, matching D extension. We finished the move. Now coming into this daily resistance level, see if we get a pullback and then continuation, right? Because again, we're hawkish on the euro, and we've been hawkish on the euro for quite some time. And President Lagarde confirmed that with her sentiments today. Okay. So that's the Euro Aussie, still tracking, still got some room to go, right? If we're able to break above this level, that D extension will come into play at some point, 169, 671. Okay. Anybody still holding this long? Anybody? No? Took our profit on it?
No.
Okay. Cool deal. All right. So that's the Euro Aussie. I took some profit off the table on that one. The Pound Aussie, another one that we were looking long, right? On the daily, pushing back into this monthly resistance level here, right? Still got a shallow retracement, but pushing long, pushing to that 192, 251 level. And we'll see what happens there. Coming to the 4, right? We've been long off the support here at the 382, right? Just shy of the 50% here. We got the push, we got the cloud break, and then we continue long, right? Then we continue long. Beautiful move there as well. Off of the support. Another 600 pip move to the upside, right? And we've been riding the wave. All right. So now coming down to the 1. Right. And here's where we're able to see that original transition off the support. That's not it. Here. Off the support. Right. I got my fibs running to the upside, but we'll pull these out for a second. We'll take this cloud off. This was a 786 retracement here. Right. Matching the extension just inside that monthly resistance level. There was your swing. Boom. There was the swing. Right. So that's two pairs, right? That moved over 600 pips over the past month that we've been sitting in riding long, right? Beautiful swing. So if we layer that cloud back on, right, and we talk about our cloud entry technique, All right, look for a break of the cloud and it's bullish ahead. Consolidated there, push down. Then we got our bullish push, bullish cloud ahead, right? And then we end up getting a swing. Okay. And we end up getting a swing. Yeah, draw down a little bit. Didn't take out the previous lows. And we got the swing. Right. Or if you play it off the fib, 618 retracement on the entry, right? You were in drawdown a little bit, but price ended up moving. Right. And we thought, well, we don't know what's going to happen. Strong move back down to the downside. Right. Some folks held, some folks took profit on this as it pulled back down. But then we got the reversal and price continued making its way to the D extension. Boom. All right. So beautiful scenarios there. Beautiful scenarios there. All right. Questions on the pound Aussie.
Holding.
You still holding it, Jeremy?
Yes.
Oh, great work. Great work, man. Great work. All right. My take profit level was hit right there. So it took me out. And my entry was here. So this was my original trade setup here. Right. Off the original move, I was up. Then I went in a drawdown. And you hear Benny talk about this all the time, right? Being a swing trader, sometimes you get this, right? You'll get these swings to the upside that don't get to your take profit level. Then they'll take you back in a drawdown. But understanding that if your bias hasn't changed, you still hold the trade, right? And I held through the drawdown. I was in drawdown 100 pips, 105 pips. And then my take profit level was here. 600 pip move to the upside. Right? So it happens, and that's where the psychology comes into play. And having written into your trade plan those if-then statements. If this happens, then I do this. When things like this steep retracement, right, that then takes you to drawdown happen, because sometimes they do, you're able to go back to your trade plan and say, okay, has my bias changed? Am I still bullish on the pound? Yes or no? Right? Has data shown me anything different? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then you stay in the trade. And as long as price doesn't take out the A, it has no choice but to go your way. Has no choice but to go your way. All right. So that's the pound Aussie there. Beautiful scenarios. So now we wait to see if we get a reset, if we get a pullback off the high. Right? Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. We could see this break and continue riding higher. So this monthly level at 192.251 is going to be key. Okay. So that's the pound Aussie. Take a look at the New Zealand dollar real quick. I know that Benny went over the weekend. And we're looking short here. All right. Clean this up a bit. Come back to higher time frames and we'll break it down. All right. So here on the daily. Right here on the daily, been pressing down to the downside, right? Just shy of that 118 level. Boom. We had daily levels here. This was a resistance coming back down to test that at 61,103. Okay. This level should be down there. We got that support level there. All right. So now coming down to the 4. Zoom out and we look at this. We had our 80-20 scenario. Double top, push down. Still trying to make its way lower. We got support level here that we'll have to decide, see what happens. right? But coming back to that support level at that 61 zone, right? Off of a 618 retracement, pushed up, pull back, and we'll see what happens at that level. Okay. So now coming down to our one, right? Super choppy, right? Super choppy, fibs going back and forth. Boom. We had the 80-20 scenario here. We came into that 50% retracement level, right? And we came back down to the downside. Okay. Came back down to the downside. If we were on the sub fib off the low, right? Kind of a double top scenario here. Got choppy, and our pullback continued. Right? Pullback continued, pressing to the downside. And then you can run your sub fibs off of these as well, right? Run it off the low from Friday. You had your high, and then price came back down. Right? So coming into this daily support, let's see what happens here. Okay, see if we get that continuation short. Okay. Questions on the New Zealand dollar?
No?
No? All right, sweet. What else we got here? CAD Let's look at the Swiss yen. Actually, let's take a look at the dollar yen first. We saw last week that Bank of Japan discussing intervention if prices continue to run too aggressively, right? So coming back to the daily here, you see we're pressing to the upside, and it's been just on a tear, right? Don't have a swing high to reset yet, still pressing long. So we want to see at what point do we get a retracement, at least to come back and retest this 142.504. Okay. None of these retracements have played, right? So it's been a strong push to the upside against the yen, which makes sense, right? With the monetary policy divergence, right? So we come down to the 4, and this is what it looks like on the 4, right? We had one nice retracement here. We had a 382 here, right? And then we just took off to the upside. So now we want to see, do we start to slow down and do we see a retracement, right? Do we come back to test 142 or do we break that and come even lower, right? We'll see what happens in the conversation tomorrow with Jerome Powell. But let's see if we get some action here and get a pullback. We want to make sure with the yens that we get the additional confirmation points, right? Because they haven't made any changes from a policy standpoint, and they've doubled down on their stance. So we'll watch this closely, and we'll also pay attention to the news to see if that intervention does come at any point, right? But we want to be able to see the additional confirmation first. Okay, so coming back here. I forget what low this was. There we go. All right. So we got 80-20 on the 4, and we have an 80-20 on the 1. Right. So use your additional confirmation here on these 80-20s with the yens. But that's where we sit, right? Still above the cloud, still pressing higher, pushing into the 118 and 127 zone. What I'd want to see here is price turnover, break of the cloud, right? And I don't want to see lagging span breakthrough price. If I get those two things, then I look for my short opportunity, at least back there, but even potentially to the 382 if we get that. All right. But I want to make sure that I get those additional points of confirmation before I enter that trade. All right. Questions on the dollar yen?
No?
All right. Cool deal. Swiss yen. There we go. So at some point, we'll hit this monthly D extension at 176.329, unless something crazy happens. At some point, we'll hit 176.329. All right, we broke this previous monthly high, beautiful retest, and we've just been pressing long. Right, just been pressing long, no retracement. Okay, coming to the weekly, we hit our weekly D extension level here, and we continue to rise. Right, so at some point we'll get a reset and a pullback, but then we're going to be looking long, potentially still. Right, so coming down to the daily now, we pushed into the 118, 127 zone. Again, right, here's that break and retest, continuation long, D extension 166. So again, waiting for additional confirmation for the retracement, but pushing into the 118, 127 zone off a shallow retracement on the daily time frame. Now coming to the 4, we got a little bit of confluence here, right? Take this off for a second, right? Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, right? So we got the 80-20 scenario on the daily, 80-20 scenario on the 4. Okay, so now we want to see, do we get price to turn over, give us a trend line break, give us a cloud break, give us an opportunity to get short. Now here on the 4-hour, 50% retracement is that weekly level that we previously broke through, right? So that's our break and retest opportunity here, right? So if we get that retracement, that'll put us back close to our sweet spot, right? And then potentially give us an opportunity to get long off that level. Okay, so we'll watch that there. Okay, coming down to the 1. Boom. Shallow retracement just shy of the 118, 127 zone. Right? Trying to turn over. Trying to turn over. Okay. So additional confirmation points, but we have some confluence on multiple time frames as well. Okay. So layer the cloud on. Boom. And then we'd be patient. Right? We know weekly level here. Take these out. Weekly level here is 50% on the 4-hour. So once we get the confirmation, we know we got a little bit potential for price to move to the downside. Another potential 600 pip move down. Right? So there we go. Questions on the Swiss yen? No? All right, cool. So be patient. Be patient, be patient, be patient. Allow for your confirmations to be met, especially with the yens, right? Most times I'm trading the zone. When price pushes into the zone, I'm pulling the trigger, right? I'm pulling the trigger. With the yens, because price has been running against them, I'm adding in those additional confirmation points to ensure that price is turning over, right? So be patient and allow the trade to develop and give it, and for the market to give you what you need to see in order to pull the trigger, right? Don't rush. Don't rush. Don't rush. Okay. Let's take a look at the euro yen and the pound yen, and we'll wrap it up there. So euro yen. So look, monthly time frame, just shy of the D extension, 158.292. Right? So we brought this level down, so we want to track that level. Okay, just shy of the D extension, 618 retracement. Took forever. 2017. Right? 2017. Took forever, but It's hitting the D extension. All right. Coming to the weekly. Boom. 50% retracement in line with a monthly support level. Boom. D extension achieved. Right. D extension achieved. 2,200 pips to the upside. So now we're looking for potentially another push up. Get to that 158.292. Yes, we're bullish on the euro. Yes, we're bearish on the yen. But at some point, a retracement is going to come. When? Don't know. But we're going to watch these key levels, right, to see when we could potentially get that. All right. So we got a monthly and a weekly D extension coming due. Okay. So now coming to the daily. Boom. 618 retracement. Beginning of the year. Boom. D extension in line. So we got monthly, weekly, and daily D extension coming in line, all in the same zone. All in the same zone. Right? So we're going to need one more push up to get here. Right? And then we'll see if we get some sort of reaction. Okay, but all three of your higher time frame levels are coming into alignment right there. That's a powerful level that we got to keep our eyes on. Okay, so now coming to the 4. Whoops. Coming here to the 4. We also have 80-20 scenario. Shallow retracement, 118 to 127 zone. So monthly, weekly, daily D extensions, 4-hour, 80-20. Okay. So I'm going to be watching this closely for another push to the upside, right? Maybe in the short term, we get this smaller pullback, right? But I'll be looking for price to push up to hit these levels. Once we hit these levels, then I'm going to be looking for confirmations, something to potentially happen fundamentally to give us a catalyst to turn over and press to the downside. And we'll see if we get it, right? So tons of confluence in this zone. Tons of confluence in the zone that I want to keep my eyes on. Okay. And the potential of that down to that daily, 618 level is 1,300 pips to the downside if we get that move. Okay. So coming here to the 1. Coming here to the 1, you barely wicked the 382. Barely wicked the 382. 155.040. 382, 155.056. Right. So barely got there, pushing to the 118, 127 zone. So again, we'll continue to monitor and watch. Right. We'll layer the cloud on. Boom. Want to see if we get another push here. All right. Still well above the cloud. Still got some time. So again, I'd love to see this. And then see if we get a reaction off that push. Okay. So this is one I'm closely monitoring to see what transpires. All right. Again, yes, we're bullish on the euro. Right. Christine Lagarde said they're going to continue increasing interest rates. But at some point, we have to get a retracement to then be able to get back long. Right. So we'll watch to see what transpires. Questions on that euro yen? Do those levels make sense? Everybody follow me from the monthly all the way down?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So we'll see. We'll see. And then the beast. Let's see what's happening. Weekly. Let's see something here. Yeah. All right. So here we go. All right. We took out the A, broke a previous resistance level, and we're running. Next level 188, 815. All right. Long way to go. So since we took out the A there, and this is a weekly time frame, right? We'll run the fib to the upside. Boom. 618 retracement, D extension 186, 631 in line with that monthly resistance level, right? So more upside potential coming. Strong bullish candle here, starting to slow down. We'll see if we get a pullback first and then a continuation, right? We'll have to watch to see there. Coming down to the daily, D extension achieved. Okay. 618 retracement, matching D extension. Boom. ABCD waves play out, right? So now we're looking to see, okay, do we continue to rise and get to that monthly level first, or do we get a retracement first? Right? But we've hit an extension, so now we're looking for a reset at some point. Okay. So we'll watch that there. Coming to the 4. Surprise, surprise. Shallow retracement. We didn't get that pullback. Shallow retracement. Trying to make our way into the 118, 127 zone. Right? So we'll watch the zone to see what happens. We'll watch the zone to see what happens. Okay. Coming down to the 1. Boom. Shallow retracement. Pushing up. All right. So let's bring this zone. We know we hit the D extension on the daily. We know we're close to the D extension on the weekly. Let's bring that down and let's mark out this. We'll do this higher zone also, right? We'll box this out. Got a monthly level and a weekly D extension here. Okay. So let's bring this down also to see if it's in alignment with that other zone. Just above. Okay. Just above that 4-hour zone. So the question is just going to be, right? Do we get a pullback before we get into this higher time frame zone, or do we continue to ride to it? Right? Additional confirmations here will be key. Okay, this is our 118, 127 zone on the 4. It's also in line with the D extension on the 1. So maybe we get a push to the D extension into that 118, 127 zone on the 4. We get a reset on the 1 hour, pullback, continuation. All right. All hypothetical scenarios, but these are the 2 zones that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on as price moves. Okay. That's what I'm watching. But we're bullish on the pound, right? So this will make sense for price to continue to rise. And then if we get something fundamentally that causes a correction, it all falls in line with everything that we're looking at, everything that we talk about. Benny says it all the time, patience pays, right? We get paid to wait. So on these yens, we'll wait. We'll wait on them. All right. Questions? Questions on anything we covered this evening? No?
No, from me.
Sweet. All right. Cool deal. So going to make some adjustments to this week's schedule. We're only going to have the morning sessions this week, right? Wednesday, Thursday. We'll just have morning sessions. And then we'll be back at it Saturday at 7. All right. So just 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning. See what transpires overnight. See if price moved into some of our zones. Got some more update to do on some of my charts. So we'll take a look at some of those updates as well. All right. So again, be patient, be patient, be patient, and make sure that each day you're finding your 1%. All right, good people. Have an awesome day. We'll see you in the morning. Peace.
Thank you. Good night.